Titan Nation. How is everybody?
What's going on, Titan Nation? I hope everybody's doing all right. Welcome in to TNT POSTGAME. I'm your host, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and I hope we're gonna definitely try to have a good show on this day. Definitely make sure y'all go ahead and share the show out. Definitely make sure y'all share it to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Definitely make sure y'all share that show out. And again, I thank everybody for tuning in to tonight's show, and we're going to go ahead and get this show started. As y'all can see, I want y'all to let me know what y'all think of the graphic. Let me know what y'all think of that. I'm trying some different things, trying to, enhance and definitely try to, make things look good, for this show. So let me know what y'all think of this graphic. Did y'all like it? Do you not? Let me know what y'all think of that. But just try some different things with the thumbnails, just to try to see how that looks. And I think I did pretty good on this one. Definitely trying to highlight, Nick Westbrook-Akine, and just the good things that happened for him. However, we know what the end result was for this game. As y'all can see, the Tennessee Titans fell 23-13 at the hands of the Minnesota Vikings, and it wasn't really even the Vikings that won this game. And we're going to definitely talk about just the horrible, absolutely horrible officiating that happened in this game. So again, definitely make sure y'all share this show out. Definitely share it out to everybody. Everybody know where they can come on in, and we're gonna, we're about to get everything going. Just loading up one other thing that I had to do, but we're gonna go ahead and get the show started. Again, Tennessee Titans fall 23-13 at the hands of the Minnesota Vikings, to fall to 2-8 on the season. And I was hoping that as I always say, losing is winning. I've always said that. And another loss. We're still at number 2 in the draft order right now. So I mean, technically it was a good thing, but I did not like the way this game played out. Not very happy about it. I think the Titans did a lot of things that deserved them to win this game. And, I definitely think they had a good opportunity if it hadn't been for some, refs basically cheating the Titans out of this football game. I really do. I think that Brian Callahan definitely have a case that they could plead to the league about this, because it truly felt like the Titans got the screw job. They got screwed in every possible way, and they didn't deserve that. I mean, if the Vikings were the better football team, so be it. They're the better team, and I can respect that. However, I do not think the Vikings were the better team on this particular Sunday, and the Tennessee Titans got screwed. They got royally screwed, and everything on that. So I was not very happy about it, but we're definitely going to get into that. So again, make sure y'all share this show out, whether it be on Facebook, X, or Instagram. Definitely make sure y'all share this show out. and let everybody know where they can come on in. Definitely hit that like button, smash that like button for me, and also hit the subscribe button as well. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit subscribe. And also make sure you download Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, or Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. Definitely go ahead and do that. So you can definitely leave me a review and everything. And so, let me know what you're thinking of everything. And so we're going to go ahead and move on. But Tennessee Titans fall 23-13. There was some good that really happened, but there were a lot of things that went wrong from the get-go from the Tennessee Titans. And so, you have some good, you had some bad, you had some god-awful that happened in this game. And, we're definitely going to get into all of that. And once again, the Tennessee Titans, this time they really did not get off to a great start. And, we know how they have struggled through the remainder of games. They usually start off pretty well in the first quarter, but then after that, they are just not very good in the rest of the game. But in this game, they definitely showed some fight. They definitely showed that they, can play with anybody. They could definitely do a lot of different things, and that there's something that we may be able to build upon in this game. And so, I was a little bit encouraged, but then I was also discouraged as well. And I'm going to definitely tell y'all why in just a bit. I'm making sure I'm in the middle there. There we go. And so I know some comments have come through. Clay said, didn't get to watch this one, but Mike and Dave were heated on Titans radio, as they should. I only got to watch a little bit of the second half because I didn't do a live stream because I had to work. I was working, and I was able to actually get to catch the second half when I was finishing up my work before I called it a day. But I think everybody, is a little heated. Even, my boy B Payne was heated. Derek said, looks cool. Keep trying new things. Definitely working on that. I'm definitely working on that. That's why I'm trying to improve some things, as far as the show is concerned. So that way it gets a little bit more appeal. But I think all of my beginners, all of my A1s who have been here from the beginning, and those who are very frequent, like a lot of you are, there were a lot of bad penalties, and we're definitely going to get into that. It's been terrible. Ms. Mims, how you doing? Good evening. A healthy competitive loss. I mean, it was a competitive loss. I don't know if I would say healthy with all the calls that was happening. And B, I will agree. Titans got screwed. Now, if this was a matchup where the Vikings clearly were the better team and the refs weren't in the way, that's one thing. But the refs clearly wanted to be the star of the show, and they made sure of it by screwing the Titans, which is nothing new to many Titans fans, because the refs have been trying to screw the Titans for years. And this is not any surprise. And so this is not a shock or anything that the refs got involved and cost the Tennessee Titans this football game. They really did. And so we're really going to get into all of that in just a bit. But again, the Tennessee Titans fall 23-13 to fall to 2-8 on the season. And right now, they are still at number 2 in the draft order, with Jacksonville just a half game ahead of them for that number one spot. And so, the Tennessee Titans are going, they will be playing they have the Houston Texans next, which unfortunately I think they're going to lose that game. Then they have the Washington Commanders, which they may lose that game. And then they have Jacksonville. And so you got Jacksonville twice coming up. So that very well could determine the number one pick in the draft of those two games. So we're really going to be finding out some things very, very soon. But let's get to the good, the bad, and the god-awful from this game. And we're going to start with the good. And that good being Will Levis. Will Levis actually didn't have that bad of a game. He didn't make that back-breaking, terrible decision that would normally cost his team a game. He didn't do that. He actually played a pretty decent ball game. 17 of 31, 295 yards, and a touchdown, which really, if you actually think about it, if you add in that 51-yard touchdown that should have stood, if you add in the 51-yard touchdown that should have stood, Will Levis should have been 18 of 32 for 346 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Calvin Ridley should have had 5 catches, 109, and a score. That's what should have happened. Right now, Will Levis should have thrown for 340 yards and 2 scores. And Calvin Ridley should have 5 catches, 109, and a score. But all in all, Will Levis actually didn't play too bad of a game. And he didn't make those back-breaking decisions that he's made early on in the early part of the season. So that was good. Him and Calvin Ridley, that connection is actually starting to come to form. Dr. Stone said he was Miracle Whip for a day. Yeah. But I agree. He should have had 2 TD passes. And that was a beautiful dime they threw to NWI for that 98-yard touchdown catch. I mean, that was a beautiful dime on 3rd down of all downs. And so I thought he was good. I thought him and Calvin Ridley had a pretty good connection on the day. I think the defense played pretty well with everything that was going against them. I think they were playing well. Despite the refs, and we're going to get to them in just a bit. But I think defensively, there were some things they did good, and there were some things that they could definitely work on, and everything. So that was some of the good. And of course, out of nowhere, here comes our troll, XD Gamer, who's been hiding under a rock forever, all of a sudden decides to want to come out. I'm like, XD, I don't know why you acting all chipper and happy. Your team just got blown out 52-6 to Detroit, which I mean we did too, but we at least got 14. So XD Gamer said, "Hey, y'all can go ahead and turn your season around. Go ahead and hand us the number one pick. Please do. Please. Go ahead and win a few games so that we can get the number one pick." So that was the good. The bad, I got to start with the offensive line. I thought the offensive line did not play very well. And that's everybody. I mean, J.C. Latham was okay, but, you know, there were a lot of missed blocks that led to pressure and sacks. Will Levis was under duress all day long. And a lot of these were not even against blitzing. They were against 4 or 5 man fronts. And we couldn't block them. Tajay Spears could not pick up pass protection very well in this particular game. And then there were a couple of times Will Levis ran himself into some sacks. The first one was they were, I believe, in the red zone, and I think they ended up kicking a field goal because Levis drops back, rusher comes, the rusher goes inside, and Levis steps up into the pocket, right into those waiting arms for a sack. And then the second time was right before the end of the first half. Levis drops back, steps up in the pocket, and that's where you should have let it go. He's still holding on to the ball and ends up getting sacked. The right side of the offensive line is horrible. Dylan Radins is okay, but MPF was bad. Isaiah Prince was no better. And that right side of the offensive line is truly the weakest link. If you can find a way to fix that right side, you might have a okay to decent offensive line. So I agree, CJ2K. That right side of the offensive line is not good. And Brandon, I agree with you as well. Now, the Vikings defensive line is actually pretty good. That Vikings defense is actually pretty good. Can't lie about that one. They're actually good. Maybe a lineman, I wouldn't do it in round 1 as high of a pick as we got. Maybe early round 2, I would. But I thought the offensive line was just not good. The protection was not good from anybody, and not even the running backs as well. Defensive line, we didn't get enough sacks. We didn't get home enough on Sam Darnold. He had time to get out of the pocket, was able to avoid a few sacks. Like T'Vondre Sweat, there was a time T'Vondre Sweat should have had him in the backfield for a sack, and he escaped him and Big Jeff. So I was kind of disappointed with that. And we only got 2 sacks in on the day, which should have been more. It should have been about 4 or 5 sacks for the Titans as well. So I was very disappointed with the pass rush, especially from Harold Landry and Arden Key. And then the offensive line as well. But to the god-awful. And this is what we need to spend the majority of the show on. First of all, let's talk about this officiating crew. This officiating was the worst officiating I have ever seen in my life. And I know the Tennessee Titans have been very undisciplined throughout the season, and probably some of those calls were deserved. But in this game, the calls were absolutely pathetic, egregious. I mean, just absolutely horrible calls. And it wasn't just one. It was a lot of them. For example, and I mean, because of that, you basically gave the Vikings points off of all of that. From the very first Minnesota Vikings drive, third down, you call pass interference on Jarvis Brownlee, which he was in perfect position. Great coverage. Justin Jefferson wasn't even looking for the football, and Jarvis Brownlee knocks the ball away, and they call pass interference when it should have been the Titans getting off the field, getting the ball back, and then the very next play is a touchdown to Jordan Addison. So the ref gives them 7 points there. Then it gets even better. A couple of drives later, another drive later, the Titans have a 4th and 1. Get the stop. And then a late flag comes in, they call offsides on T'Vondre Sweat. And he is nowhere near offsides. He was nowhere near offsides on that play. And then it gets better from there. On that exact same drive. So they get 1 4th down off of that. Get a 4th down off of that. Then probably one of the worst, probably another one of the top 2 worst calls there is. They call unnecessary roughness on Mike Brown on a 4th down that was going to Jordan Addison. He didn't launch himself in him. He went shoulder into his chest. And maybe the helmet was going there too, but he wasn't launching himself. Jordan Addison was not a defenseless player because he was catching the football. So he's not defenseless. And they call unnecessary roughness and give the Vikings yet another touchdown. So that's 2. And so then, the next one that was egregious. Jarvis Brownlee, good coverage on Justin Jefferson. He's playing press right up on him. He gets contact, you get 5 yards. And then right at about the 6th yard, there was still a bit of contact, but Jarvis was letting go. And they still called illegal contact. I'm like, ticky-tack, you can let that go. That wasn't egregious. It wasn't like after 5 yards, another 5 yards down the field, they were still, he was still, tugging or whatever. It was like maybe a half yard. And they still called it. Just absolutely pathetic. And there was a time where Brian Callahan, I believe on that unnecessary roughness call, he was livid. I mean, he was livid on the sideline. Players and coaches had to restrain him. I liked seeing that fight in him. And it was warranted. I mean, he should have been that upset. So, I mean, yes, The refs sucked. And so the referees were terrible in this game. Because of that, 3 touchdowns were scored. 3 touchdowns were scored thanks to the refs. The first one being that bogus pass interference call against Jarvis Brownlee in the first quarter that led to the Addison score. Those 2 penalties against Devondre Sweat and Mike Brown that shouldn't have been called. Those should have been times where the Titans got off the field twice, led to a Sam Darnold rushing touchdown. And then in the third quarter, they called that illegal contact on Jarvis Brownlee, and that ended up leading to the last score. And, you know what? I forgot. Not only did they give the Vikings points, I forget they take points away from the Tennessee Titans. They give the Rams all 3 of their scores and took a big touchdown off the board for the Titans because of illegal formation on an offensive lineman on Isaiah Prince. Called it 3 times on him when he was lining up the same way the whole game. And on that 51-yard touchdown pass, he was in the same position as all the other linemen. He didn't have his hand in the dirt because he already in the stance to get ready for pass blocking. And I'm like, this is utterly ridiculous how they called this penalty on Isaiah Prince a couple of times. Now, I know they're going to say, well, we gave forewarning to him and Latham in the beginning of the game. But that was still a bogus call. And that took points off the board because at that time, it was 23-10, and the Titans could have been 23-17. And the Titans are right in there. And really, if it wasn't for the refs, the Tennessee Titans very well could have won this ball game. They could have very well have won this ball game, and maybe at worst they're picking 8th right now. But the refs decide to screw us over, which, I mean, they've done that many times before, where they have purposefully caught the Titans game. But this one was just, it was blatantly obvious that's what they were doing. They were screwing the Titans over, basically helping the Vikings win. It was egregious. It was god-awful how these refs called this game. How does Blake Blakeman and his crew still have jobs? Those were fireable offenses. And again, if I'm Brian Callahan, if I'm the Tennessee Titans, I would take this up with the league. Because they were purposefully screwing the Titans over. So that was the god-awful. And then the fact that there were a whole bunch of Viking fans there. I mean, I get it. Nashville is a great city to visit. But Titan fans, we got to do better, y'all. Myself included. We got to do better. I'm sick and tired of opposing teams' fans taking our stadium over. But I get it. We're not winning. Although that was an issue even when we were winning. Titan fans, y'all got to do better too. And again, I include myself in this as well. So I'm not just putting it on Titan fans besides me. I'm holding myself accountable because I am too a part of this fan base. But we have to do better. But that game was horrible. Absolutely horrible. And so those are my thoughts from the game. I thought I thought some things did go well. We'll definitely have to continue. But I will say this on the Will Levis front. I know there's a lot of people out there that are saying, Will Levis did some good things. Maybe he could be the quarterback one of the future. Maybe there is still some hope for him. Don't fall for the setup. Because all you're doing is filling yourself up with false hope. That's all you're doing. You're filling yourself up with false hope, and it's going to let you down. Will Levis ain't it. If you have a chance to draft Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, I know Tyler Locked On Titans doesn't really like either quarterback. He thinks Cam Ward is, a crazy gunslinger. And that Shedeur Sanders is, not athletically gifted, doesn't have the greatest arm strength and anything like that. Although I think Shedeur Sanders is the better quarterback. Accurate, elusive, and just makes the right throws. Cam Ward goes for the home run every time, and that could cost him. But we're definitely going to see about that. But again, it's either Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, or you trade down. That's what I would do. Play well, but not good enough. Then, Brandon's saying his play dropped to the quarterback and not improving the line. I never said we weren't going to improve the line, B. What I was saying is, in the first round, an offensive lineman is not worth the first, second, or third pick in this draft. It is either Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, or Shedeur Sanders. In round 2, I go offensive line. Because there will be a couple of decent offensive linemen that could be there in round 2. I believe there's one, Emory Jones of Josh Simmons of Ohio State. There's another kid by the name of Emory Jones. There's another kid in West Virginia. So I definitely have to take a look at those guys. But Cameron Williams out of Texas. So there are a couple of good offensive linemen that could definitely be there in round 2. And I think that's where you need to go. Either Shedeur, Cam, or Travis Hunter in the first round, offensive line in the second round. Then you could go edge rusher. Maybe we add another speed wide receiver or something like that. Get an interior offensive lineman, add some depth. Get some depth in other places. That's what I will do. But that's just me. But it also depends on what they do in free agency as well. I know there's a lot of people that want Rand gone, and there's some people that want Callahan gone. I don't think that's the right course of action because you will never have stability. I think these guys at least deserve one more shot. Now, if it gets bad next season, then yes, fire both of them and start over. Absolutely. So that's just what I would do in that position. But again, that for just about do it again, the Titans fall 23-13. Even though I'm kind of mad the refs screwed the game over, hey, again, like I said, losing is winning. We're closer to that number 1 draft pick. Our frat brother DeAndre saying, I will barf if we take another lineman in round 1. I mean, it depends. If you could trade back, get some capital, and you maybe get a Kelvin Banks, maybe a Will Campbell, see if one of them can play right tackle, then yeah, you might be okay. Or you have them play left, you move J.C. Latham back to right, and you're probably okay. That's all I'm saying. But everybody, again, make sure y'all share this show out. Make sure y'all share this show out to everybody. Make sure, again, you smash that like button for me. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit all under your bells so that you get all the notifications when I do go live and everything. So definitely make sure y'all be in tune for that tomorrow night. I will not have a show tomorrow night because I have to work my job. I will do a show on Thursday night previewing the Houston Texans. So we will definitely have a show Thursday night getting ready for Titans Texans down in Houston. So we're definitely going to get ready for that. I hope everybody has enjoyed the show. Again, make sure get everything out. Let's see. Ms. Bim said, "Did you hear the New York Jets fired their GM?" Well, I know they fired their head coach. They fired their coach Robert Saleh earlier this year. But yeah, I do see that. Joe Douglas, the GM from the New York Jets, fired. I do see that. I did see that. So the Jets are going to be looking for a new GM and head coach. So that's a very interesting turn of events. We also know it looks like, time could be running out for Doug Peterson in Jacksonville. Matt Eberflus in Chicago. Could be running out for Antonio Pierce in Vegas after 1 year. So some of these first-year head coaches could be out too. We're definitely going to find out. But everybody, Thursday night we will have a show. Definitely stay tuned for that and everything coming up. I hope everybody has a very good rest of your Tuesday. Thank y'all for tuning into the show. And I hope everybody has a very good rest of your night. Thank y'all and tighten up because that's all we know how to do. Good night, y'all.